Welcome to Review Rewind, the show where a couple of friends watch movies of old and aim to figure out if the reviewers were spot on or a little off. I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm Tristan.
And this week, we're talking about Tombstone.
Tombstone.
It's hard to get that Sam Elliott voice.
Yeah.
This was directed by George P. Cosmatos. But there's a lot of debate whether he fully directed it, and maybe we'll talk about that a little later. Produced by Sean Daniel, James Jacks, and Bob Mizorowski. And screenwriter Kevin Gier, the screenwriter for The Mummy, an old friend. A guy writing a timepiece about men, just this time without mummies. You know, it's the same thing. This was a Buena Vista Pictures, Hollywood Pictures. So not fun, but a little history on that. In the 1990s, literally around 1990, maybe it was a little bit before, Disney wanted to get into the serious movie game. And so they started Hollywood Pictures, and Tombstone was one of the properties. And I honestly thought it was maybe like their first one. But even though it started in, I think, 1990, it was already like their 20th project. They started it and they were working with so many different studios, like little smaller production companies, to just start getting movies going. And it's kind of funny to see it and then stop and remember, like, oh, this is Disney. And it was always Disney. Like Hollywood Pictures was just like a front. They were like, well, no one's going to watch a serious movie that has Disney's name on it, so we got to get something going for us. And Buena Vista had kind of done it, but everyone started figuring out that Buena Vista was the street that the Disney Studios was on. So they were like, well, maybe that's not going to work. So Hollywood Pictures came out, and they really did try to do a whole lot. And so we have an action Western. It was rated R. It originally released December 25th, so on Christmas, 1993.
A Christmas movie?
A Christmas movie? I didn't even know it. It had a budget of $25 million. It grossed $56 million in the U.S. and so it just made $56 million?
It looks like it didn't release worldwide. Interesting.
I should have looked into that. Anyway, we've got good old Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, Sam Elliott as Virgil Earp, Bill Paxton as Morgan Earp, Powers Boothe as Curly Bill Brocius, Michael Biehn as Johnny Ringo, and then Charlton Heston as Henry Hooker.
I think it's funny that you put Charlton Heston on there, even though he shows up for like
that
a minute.
Is a union thing. His name comes up higher than other people just because of his work. Yeah. And so we, as this movie had a lot of death in it, we bid adieu to our formerly named What's the Plot? And we are introduced to our new, it's not a new segment, but it's a new name because we got good at marketing. Recap Rewind.
Woohoo.
Woo! Oh, wait, hold on.
There we go.
Audience laughed at the wrong part.
You gotta get those buttons labeled.
You know what? They're lights and anywho. Tristan, would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
Oh, I can go first.
And audio viewers, you may not know it, but Tristan is dressed for the part. He has a fantastic mustache. So, yeah. Why don't you go first? Handlebar Bill Billingsley. I don't know. All right.
Handlebar Bill Billingsley. Okay. Just give me a second. All right.
This is not entirely a video medium, but I think we're gonna have to post this one.
It's mostly for you.
Yeah, we have a cowboy-ish hat. So
yeah, I got rid of my real cowboy hat, so this is the closest thing I had. Anyway,
yeah, go for it.
You ready?
I am.
Round up the boys. We're making a Western. Saddle up your horses and hoist your haunches for the glorification of the Wild West tale pulled right out of history itself. We're talking Tombstone, Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and the OK Corral. Join the mustachioed trio known as the Earp brothers, as I like to call them, Kurt Russell with the mustache, Bill Paxton with the mustache, and Sam Elliott. And walking corpse of a friend, Doc Holliday. As they arrive in Tombstone, Arizona, to start a new life of making money and mumbling. Within the first 10 minutes, Kurt Russell makes Billy Bob Thornton cry and bleed, and solidifies a job at the gambling tables by reputation and steely-eyed glares alone. Speaking of reputation, did you know Wyatt Earp was a lawman back in Dodge City? Well, everyone in Tombstone sure does, and they want to see him back in the badge. But old Earp isn't interested. He's only got money on his mind and his mind on his money and the pretty actress lady that he wants to make his honey. But he can't do that because he's got an opioid-addicted wife to ignore. As the historical moving picture pre-roll tells us, 100 outlaws from Texas roam the lands, the red sash-wearing cowboy gang led by Curly Bill. They run these parts and the local law allows it to happen so as to not stir the pot. Things may be a little crazy, but one misstep, you might end up on the wrong end of a barrel and sleeping in a wooden box. Now, the cowboys don't much like the Earp boys or Holiday, and like a couple of territorial buffalo, these parties keep butting heads. One night when Curly Bill gets too high, he starts firing pistols out in the streets, leading him to shooting the town sheriff. Wyatt stands firmly on the side of justice and says Bill needs to be tried by a judge. And this gets the pot a boiling for the cowboys. Virgil Sam Elliott Earp can't stand by and watch. He finally steps up to become sheriff, and Morgan, Bill Paxton, as his deputy. With that, a new ordinance is given. No guns allowed in town. When the a drunken cowboy starts causing a bit of a ruckus, and Virgil throws him in a cell overnight. When the cowboys' brethren come to gather him in the morning, words get heated, and them boys ain't happy. Word starts spreading around town that a group of cowboys are gathering behind the OK Corral to come shoot the Earps, but stubborn Sam Elliott ain't having none of it. Ignoring the warnings of Wyatt, they grab their guns and march down the street looking real heroic-like. The Earps and Holiday come around the corner, and everything goes south. Bullets flying and cowboys dropping. If the pot was a boiling before, the pot straight up boiling over now. The cowboys who survived the gunfight have had it with the Earps, and they're out for revenge. It was a dark and stormy night when it all happened. Under the cover of thunder and rain, the cowboys attacked the Earps, leading to the death of Morgan. It was time to get out of Dodge, so to speak, so the Earps packed up their belongings and left Tombstone. But the cowboys weren't finished yet, and neither was Wyatt. Wyatt was out for a reckoning. Having come out of retirement as a marshal, he rallied a crew, including Doc and ex-cowboy Les Blue Yondu. And boy howdy, hold on the reins, because it's montage time. Quick cut, marshals riding their horses. Quick cut, somebody gets shot. Back to the horses, back to the guns, back to the horses. Oh boy, another guy gets shot. Cut to the river. The marshals ambushed and surrounded by cowboys. No way out. Wyatt stands up, yells, "No!" a lot. Bullets whizzing. Not a single one hits him. And boom, bang, he kills Curly Bill. But that's not the end. Back on the horses, shooting, horses, and shooting. And Charlton Heston. And Doc Holliday is dying. And they got McMasters. Oh, just joking. Doc isn't dying, but he actually kind of is. But he's still the fastest gun in the West. and more horses and shooting. Finally, we see Holliday on his deathbed, Wyatt visiting him for the last time. Doc tells him to go get the girl, and that's what Wyatt does. He goes and finds the pretty actress, and they dance in the snow. And that, my friends, is the tale of Tombstone. Thank you.
That was fantastic. That was great. That was it was such a quick joke that my laughter just felt psychotic in the moment. But what was it? Kurt Russell with a mustache, Bill Paxton with a mustache, and Sam Elliott. That's the best. Because he is, well, you know what? I make a joke about it in mine, so I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Alrighty. I'm not gonna be able to. Mine is not gonna be as good. Alrighty, here we go. I'm not gonna do an accent because my only Southern accent is more like North Carolina. Oh, it sounds like Doc Holliday, which I can't read this. Like Doc Holliday can't read a plot. Anyway, in the not too well, you know. In the not too distant past, in the not too distant Southwest, in the not too distant mustache, we meet a gang called Cowboys running amok and having their way in the growing Arizona town of Tombstone. Little did these hoodlums know, their reckoning was on a train heading straight for them. That reckoning is Wyatt Earp, played by Kurt Russell, the most handsome man to wear a mustache. Wyatt and his wife Maddie, Dana Wheeler Nicholson, meet up with Wyatt's brother Virgil and Morgan, played by Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton, respectively. You know Sam Elliott? His voice is in every manly commercial known to man. His voice is a man on its own. He is two people, himself and his voice. And game over, man, game over. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do? Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. The Mario brothers pack up their things and head to Tombstone, where Wyatt tussles with a young Billy Bob Thornton, but scores a job at a saloon. Did you know that a lot of that scene was off the cuff? Apparently, they knew the outcome, but they didn't know exactly how it was going to go until they started filming. Anyway, Wyatt refuses to get involved in the law, while the Cowboys get more rambunctious. Wyatt's wife is becoming more addicted to opioids because back then, that was normal. The town is graced with the lovely Josephine Marcus, played by Dana Delaney, and Wyatt is immediately taken aback by her beauty and curly hair. She is accompanied by the absolutely stunning, good God, Billy Zane. So he is just a very handsome man. Look, I know that this is supposed to be like a manly cowboy flick, but there are some handsome blokes to just kind of like gaze at. And anyway, did I mention that Val Kilmer absolutely steals the show as Doc Holliday? I am blown away by his ability. It's a weird overacting that fits perfectly in every scene. Anyway, one of the Cowboys gets super high, like stoned off his block, and ends up killing the city's sheriff. Virgil sees the pain on the streets and decides to go against Wyatt's wishes and becomes the sheriff. The famous shootout at the OK Corral happens, and the Earp boys find themselves back on the side of the law. After killing a couple cowboys, the brothers are faced with a revenge plot that finds Virgil injured and Morgan killed. The family decides to leave the town, but on their way out, the cowboy who got stoned ordered others to finish the job. Wyatt ambushes them and sends the only survivor back with a message. Wyatt Earp is coming for them, and he's bringing hell with him. and hell he hath brought. Wyatt goes on a cowboy killing streak so astonishing that characters in the movie actually have to question it. Upon his last cowboy, Wyatt is faced with a real dilemma. He can't win against the fastest gun in the West, Ringo Starr. Wyatt goes ready to die. But old Doc has other plans and faces the beetle on his own. Doc wins, the bad guy dies, and the day is saved. Wyatt can now live in peace, but he can't. He is told to live by Doc prior to Doc taking his last breath, and so Wyatt goes to find an actress he liked, and they live happily ever after. Because his wife died, like right after Morgan died, it really felt like they skipped over that and then just kind of revealed it at the end, which that would have been a really helpful plot to make you understand, like, maybe why is he angry? Maybe why is he just going after this other lady? Like, he seems kind of honorable, like he flirts, but like he really is against it, but they don't really give you a whole lot. And then he like woos her and goes and says, like, I'm gonna live with you forever and I love you and oh my gosh, and then they're like, oh, by the way, his wife died, so this is all okay. Anyway, the end.
The end. Yep.
Thank you, pretend audience. Yeah.
It's so true.
So what did you feel about the movie overall?
Yeah. So this movie to me is a real glorification of the Wild West kind of movie. It's just like, hey, look at these guys dressing up as cowboys and having fun. I think there are some moments that you're like, you get like, yeehaw, this is exciting. It's the Wild West. And you're like on board with it. But I don't think it's a well-told story overall.
Yeah.
It is kind of hard to follow sometimes. Mm-hmm. They kind of jump around. Like, it feels like they have their historical documented moments that need to happen.
Yeah.
And then they write around that, but they don't always do a good job of connecting from point A to point B.
Right.
All the time. And so it's sometimes hard to follow, and like it's easy to miss some throwaway lines that they say to explain. For example, after Curly Bill shoots the sheriff, they make a big deal about he needs to go in front of a judge. And then it cuts to Wyatt saying like, oh, the judge just let him off because they said there was no witnesses. But it was such a like quick kind of moment that if you miss it and then you see Curly Bill later, you're like, wait, wasn't he arrested? Like, what just happened? So it just like jumps a lot. It also feels like it truly was in the Hollywood boys just like round them up, because we're making a cowboy movie.
Right.
And it was hard to, half of the actors, I could just see the actor with a mustache. Mm-hmm. Half of them I didn't recognize because like, I didn't realize it was Billy Bob Thornton until I saw the credit and I was like, wait, that was Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah. And then same with, what's his name? I can't think of his name. There's another. I'll think of it. But there are a couple of actors where I was just like, no, Roker. I recognized. It is
Michael Biehn. No, what's his name? I think I know who you're talking about.
Stephen Lang.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was Stephen Lang.
Watching the movie Ike. And then gathering the information and then seeing that it was Stephen Lang, I was like, the scaredy cat? The annoying one?
Yeah. It's such a different character than what we're used to seeing him as now.
Because he's used to being kind of the boss or like a very scary character. And this one, he was as
Yellow bellied as they come.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the end of the movie has him renouncing the Cowboys, throwing the cowboy regalia away, I think. He's the one. Yeah, they're chasing him, and he's the one that throws the flag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The bandana.
But yeah, so like half of them I was just kind of like, oh, you're Kurt Russell with a mustache right now. But then there were some that were like, you did a really good job. I lost you into your character.
Yeah.
And that's good. So yeah.
The hard part is like Sam Elliott is like a Western character.
Yeah.
So he's just like playing himself, but it's hard when he's like a Western character actor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's supposed to play like a Western like main character, and you're like, I don't know, man. You just look like Sam Elliott. Yeah.
And I wonder if we were watching this when it came out, if we would have felt that way, or if it's just because of who these people have become.
We have 30 years
now.
Of more of a career behind all of these people. That's an excellent point. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a interesting thought.
But yeah, I think like overall, I think there was moments where I was thinking more about not really the making of the film, but just kind of more of the behind the scenes of like, oh, they probably all had fun being cowboys for a couple months.
So that's interesting to bring up. So overall, there's lots of this movie I enjoyed, and lots of it where I'm like, that is probably accurate to the time, but gosh dang it if these guys aren't just the most racist, misogynistic devils. Like, I will give it this: the bad guys were really good. They were really like, you hated them. There was no reason to like them. So except for Yanu, when he turned, he's like, you never go after someone's wife. That's a no-no. So, but you bring it up, and the production of this was just wrought with
sounds
drama.
like a mess. Yeah.
So Kevin Jarre wrote the original script, and then they had a director lined up, and then the director quit. He left the project. I don't know if he quit, but he left the project.
Wasn't it him?
No. Kurt Russell wanted him. Kurt Russell wanted him to direct it. There was I don't know if it was the producer. There was someone involved in the project who like really wanted him to direct it, but the studio and the other producers were like, no, we're going to have this one guy do it. And then after the one guy did it and left, they brought in George Cosmatos, and no one liked him. He basically had a completely different vibe than what was already going on. But the one benefit that did help is I think once he signed on, he brought with him a few behind the scenes workers, including the costume designer. And then he and the costume designer were very, very deliberate about the costumes looking authentic. So you give him 100% credit. Like it looked like the correct time. Like everything looked really, really good in that manner. But George and Kurt did not get along. And it is said by several different actors that Kurt had a hand in actually kind of taking over a lot of the director duties. Kurt still says to this day that he kind of directed it. The other actors would go like, he had a lot of say in it, but I don't know if he like directed it. So there was a lot. So a lot of the issues you're talking about is because behind the scenes it did lack direction. Kurt has been on record saying that the original script that Kevin Giard wrote was really, really good, and it is not what the movie turned out. But they tried to take as much from it as they could to make the movie that they have.
My understanding was that they basically lost a month of filming because it was just wasted, and then the production company was like, "We're not giving you makeup time," so they had to
kind of put it together,
cut out a lot of stuff.
But yeah, overall, there's lots I really liked. I didn't have as much issue with Kurt Russell, or like I didn't see Kurt Russell. I saw him in the character, and God, man, he is a beautiful man. There were so many moments where I was just like, wow, he has beautiful eyes. And then his hair, I was just like, his hair is really nice. Like, I really wish I had hair like that.
Yeah.
And they focused on him enough that I was just like, wow, they are doing an excellent job at this, because this is what they want. They want you to kind of be distracted by him. Mm-hmm. And they nailed it, like makeup, all that stuff. Bill Paxton was great. I thought he played a great little brother. Mm-hmm. Sam Elliott, all the bad guys, they were really bad. But yeah, the pacing and the almost, let's put it like a roadmap. They started somewhere and they got to the end where they needed to get to, but they didn't have a map. So they kind of went like the long way a few times and kind of went through loops and maybe backtrack a few times. Like their roadmap was all over the place.
Yeah.
But overall,
when we were watching it, we paused it right before the OK Corral.
Okay.
Which is an hour into it's the middle of the movie, and we paused it, and Gloria was like, "Wait, there's still an hour left of this movie? Like, what's happening right now?" Because it feels the first half of that movie feels like really slow, and it feels like it's all building up to the OK Corral, and then it's like, nope, this is just the middle.
Yeah, the OK Corral is the catalyst for the climax.
Yeah,
but it's not the climax. Which, yeah, totally. It does feel like there's. I think a good way of thinking about it. This movie feels like it has 4 third acts. Mm-hmm. Like you get to the OK Corral and you're like, all right, third act. Like we probably got like 10, 15 minutes left. And then you're like, oh no. Oh, there's a revenge plot. There's another third act. Oh, there's a reckoning. That's another third act.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another reckoning? Okay. Yeah. Third act again. Okay.
Yeah. From the script writing classes that I've taken, usually your inciting incident happens around the 30-minute mark, 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the length of the movie. This one took a whole hour to have the inciting incident like actually happen.
And like, I'm just thinking about the stuff that happens prior, of whether that's actually stuff you can really cut out. And there's definitely stuff you can. Mm-hmm. I think the very beginning of the movie, where you're introduced to the cowboys and their ruthlessness, is an excellent starting point. Then you have the introduction of the brothers, them traveling to Tombstone, and that's good. I think the love story is unnecessary.
Yeah.
I think the love story, it's almost like they're like, well, this is where Wyatt like began his life, because like he was married to Maddie, and she, sadly got addicted to opioids and became a different person, and that was hard for him and whatever it might be. But at the end of the movie, they were together from the epilogue. They were together for like 47 years after that. Him and Josephine, they were together for a long time.
Yeah.
And so this is the start of his new life. But the problem is Tombstone is not about necessarily Wyatt Earp falling in love with someone.
No.
Though it kind
yeah.
That's where it, like with Doc, it feels like that's the lesson. But I feel like they still could have told that story without all the like love story. It just feels like filler or just a little too much fluff.
Yeah. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but we're just going to roll with it. That's one of my least favorite things is that love story, because the way that they presented it was unbelievable. It was ridiculous. Like there were a few moments that were like, oh, okay, this is a sweet moment.
Right. But
there were so many where, like, after the gunfight of the OK Corral, she runs out there and just smiles at him. And I know it was supposed to be a moment of like, oh, good, you're safe. But it just kind of looked like a, hi. And then he's like glaring at her, and then Maddie comes around the corner and is like, oh, and like it just felt weird. And then when Morgan dies and he runs outside into the rain and his hands are covered in blood, and he's just like admittedly having a really horrible moment, and she runs up to him and he's like, don't you see? And she's like, oh, and then runs. I couldn't help but laugh at that moment because it was just like so over the top, and it was so
melodramatic
weird
to the max. Like it was
but like I can see how it's like, okay, they met each other in Tombstone, so like in the real life story, this is how they met,
right?
But like, and like you said in your recap, that like it's weird at the end of the movie that all of a sudden it's like, hey, go get the girl, and he does it, and we're all feeling really awkward about the fact that like, but he's still married, right? Yeah. Like he just sent her away, and then it's like, oh, and by the way, Maddie died from an overdose, and it's like, oh, okay.
Like they would have known that by that point. Like Doc,
I guess we feel better about
like
this.
They would have known that.
Yeah,
and that would have, like, if Doc would have been like, I know that me in this state and with Maddie passing, you feel like you can't live life, but go live life for me. Like you could have tied that in, and it would have.
Yeah.
And even if he didn't know, who cares? You're making a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to make it perfectly historically accurate. He would have probably have known by then. So it doesn't hurt him, but us in the world that you have created, we don't know.
Yeah. I think it would have helped the story a lot more if they actually showed us more of what was going on with Maddie,
right,
and their relationship, because it just kind of seemed like all of a sudden, like from my perspective watching it, it seemed like she was not too happy about moving out there,
right,
but it wasn't like, it didn't feel like it was horrible between them,
right.
And then he makes eyes at Josephine, and then that was the catalyst of them not having a good relationship.
That's what they make it seem. But like, arguably, her addiction would have been the thing that,
the relationship was bad before that moment, but they didn't explain that to us. So it makes it seem like Wyatt was a horrible husband.
They kept emphasizing it. They kept emphasizing this idea that, like, she keeps Here's the thing. Here's the part that is obnoxious. It doesn't really help the story along, because he did make a point of like, he did the horse ride and everything, but he never did anything more than the conversational points. Like he never did anything more than to go, you're an interesting woman. Because even after their little rendezvous, he goes back and he kind of like is just asking his wife questions. And it just puts him in a place of like questioning. And he didn't do anything at that point in time. And throughout the movie, he didn't do anything. But they make it seem like he did.
Yeah.
And the reason this is obnoxious is because it didn't help the plot. It didn't make you go like, it didn't make you think, oh, their marriage is in shambles or it's super blah, 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 because Maddie keeps walking in on these moments that like, yeah, he is showing this connection, but like he never sees that. So we are doing it from an outside perspective. It's not like Wyatt Earp wrote it down in his biography and was like, well, Maddie kept seeing me look at her. And then she was getting real upset.
Yeah.
Because they make it almost seem like when the Earp family, except for Wyatt, is leaving Tombstone, they make it seem like Maddie is leaving because she's mad at him for like the relationship stuff, not her life is in danger.
Right.
And this is the best move for them. They just miss out on this. Like, how do you build this world? Because you can build this world of like, she doesn't have to, maybe she was hurt by it. Maybe I'm missing the point. Maybe, whatever it might be, but like, it all feels like third person perspective, not really like Wyatt saw it or you had an argument with Wyatt and her. Like they never argued. He always seemed like he was, she seemed, I didn't. So one of the things I didn't like how they wrote Maddie. Because I don't understand what her motivation is. So if she was protesting the move, they never gave her any dialogue or any which way thought to let us really understand that. When they first get to the train station, they stand in front of that window and Wyatt is very like excited about it. And she feels like she's trying to step away from it. So body language wise, it feels like she doesn't belong, like right out the bat. The other wives are very happy. They're good. We know whatever. But like, we don't get something of like Wyatt was abusive. We don't get anything that like she doesn't actually like Wyatt. We don't actually get that. The conflict seems to be she has headaches and she's taking drugs. And in that mode, in that mindset, she doesn't connect with him. But even then, they don't argue. They don't do anything. Like, he feels disconnected whenever she's taking the drugs, and he's warning her. He feels that she's getting addicted to it. We get that. He seems like a concerned husband. So, like, we never really get a point of, like, an actual conflict between them. We get this like third person perspective of she sees him looking at her, but also based on the camera angles, like we're assuming a lot.
Right.
Because she can't see his face in a lot of the things that she sees. She can just see the other lady. And that's where our conflict comes in, but then nothing ever gets said about it. Nothing, there's no argument, there's no anything. So it just feels like this really weird thing. And then the payoff is a little blip in the epilogue.
Yeah.
It just feels disrespectful. Like it feels disrespectful to the person that was Maddie Earp, and it feels disrespectful in the story itself. It's just like, we need to tell this love story, but how do we
Yeah.
How do we show that they don't love each other anymore? Which they could have showed, because if she overdosed, she was doing it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have had a moment where they had a moment where she had just taken it and she falls asleep after he asked the question. But they could have had a moment where like he goes in and she's gone. Like she's in, because it's opioids. So it would have had a very like, she would have been very drowsy, very, whatever. And she doesn't respond to him. She doesn't like, he's looking to talk. He's looking for something because he's dealing with a lot. I'm sure he was talking to her, but we don't get it. Like we don't even
I saw there was.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I saw that in like 2002 or something, they released a director's cut that did include a few more scenes with her and that addiction. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. I've just seen that exists. Yeah. So I wonder if there was probably a lot more that was originally part of the story for her. So
I guess the way they cut it,
just made it feel so weird, and it made it an afterthought when it was like, if you're putting so much on this love story, then you need to
kind of have to resolve this.
You have to resolve a lot of things.
Yeah. Anything else you didn't like?
I found it really difficult to keep track of characters.
Yeah.
They didn't do a really good job of like introducing the important characters and keeping them important throughout the movie.
Right.
And sometimes they would introduce unimportant characters, and then that character never showed up again. And you're like, well, why did we even meet that guy when we didn't meet this other person? So like, for example, the mayor, the first time we meet him, it's a wide shot. And this is getting a little bit into like the filmmaking side of it. The first time we meet the mayor, it's a wide shot.
Right.
We don't see his face, and he's behind people.
Yeah.
And like his face is there, but it's like small.
Yeah.
And then 2 scenes later, they're all in the saloon hanging out. Mm-hmm. And there's a close up of this guy. And it's like, wait, who's this guy that we've never seen before?
Right.
And then 2 scenes later, it's like, oh, that's the mayor. So like, and the mayor plays a big part in the middle of the film, not necessarily the rest of it, but like, he plays a part in like the OK Corral incident and like all of that.
Right.
And the fact that his introduction, and then we don't actually put together that this guy and this guy are the same guy until much later. Like that's just like poor character introduction.
Right.
And then like Biehn, who's the county sheriff.
He was the worst character in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he gets introduced like right away as this major character.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one that like we know who he is.
Right.
There is no resolution to his story at all.
Yeah.
Not even in the epilogue. We don't, or epilogue. We don't get anything about his character. But like he played a huge part in all of it.
Didn't he get shot?
Did he?
I don't know. Well, that was the other part. Like the ending of the movie, the montages where Wyatt is reckoning. You really do find yourself in a position where we're not really sure who's
getting shot.
Yeah, who's getting shot, who's getting taken care of, whatever might be happening. But back to Biehn, his character was so annoying because he was the mole.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially he was the paid law enforcement by the bad guys. That is a typical character that's a typical and really important character in a lot of crime drama. Because essentially, even though this is Western, it's a crime drama. Like that's all it really is. Like it's a crime drama. And that kind of character is really important. We don't fully grasp how tied he is to the Cowboys until Billy Zane is shown dead.
Right.
That is the only that moment where he's hanging out with the Cowboys and then sees Billy Zane dead, and he's like really taken aback, and she goes, "It was your friends who did it." We don't have much in the way of a connection to the Cowboys from his character. Even in the OK Corral scene, he is trying to persuade them not to do it, but really, like, in the grand scope of it, that was kind of the right idea. Like, it wasn't a bad idea. And so we have his moment where he's kind of telling a good idea, and then that moment is actually supposed to be our first real glimpse of, like, oh, he's working with the Cowboys, but it doesn't land at all.
Because we don't understand his motivation. Like, he comes by and he's like, oh, I already talked to him, don't worry about it. And they ignore him, and you're like, okay, whatever. And then
because you feel like he's trying to diffuse the situation. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe there's something else selfish involved, but ultimately it just feels like he's doing his job and trying to diffuse the situation.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I already took care of it.
Right.
And then immediately after that, he's like, you're all under arrest.
Which,
and it's
God darn it,
what?
if it wasn't a good line where he's like, I don't think I'm going to let you arrest me today. And then he moves on. Like, it was a good line.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, even in the grand scope of it, you could interpret what happened as the fault of the Earps. Even though it was the cowboy that shot first. Han shot first, hashtag. But hashtag Han shot first. But at the same time, we now know, like, it takes a long time for you to realize, oh, he did that because he was working with the Cowboys. Like, he was trying to, either put them in a situation where they're easy targets or get them out of the way of the Cowboys. Which you could still argue him arresting the Earps was him trying to diffuse the situation, because it's like, oh, the Cowboys are dead. They're going to look for revenge. But what if I arrest them and say, like, hey, we're going to take care of it. The law is going to take care of it.
Right.
Let us work with that. It's still reasonable. We still don't have anything that makes us believe he is a bad guy.
Yeah, his motivation for that was super unclear and could be interpreted in many ways. So yeah, like, characters like that, and I feel like there are side characters like
Billy Breckenridge. He's
Billy.
Jason Presley. He played the little nice guy with the glasses.
Oh, the sheriff's deputy.
Right?
Which we don't know
that. I had to look him up
until like
I had to look him up because I was like, well, all of these people are like real people. And I looked him up and I was like, he was a sheriff? What?
Yeah.
And that's what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be like a lawman. And I was just like, oh, what? Huh? I thought he was just like the gang's nerd. Like, every gang has a nerd, you know?
Yeah. That was weird. And even like McMaster's, Michael Rooker's character, Yondu. He's kind of important.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
But they like
he's actually really important.
And they show him at one point early on, and you're just like, oh, hey, it's him. And then you don't see him for a really long time.
Right.
And then he shows up again and he's like, oh, whenever you need us, like, just let us know. Because they're like giving up being cowboys. And so he calls on them. They become
the squad
marshals.
Yeah.
Like, they get badges and everything.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
like horrifically, like
But
ceremoniously, like an audience member, if you haven't seen the movie, the revelation that Roker has died is that while they are waiting for Doc Holliday to heal up, and they are kind of hiding from the cowboys, a cowboy arrives at the property with a horse dragging a dead body, revealed to be Roker, and you're just like,
else, they got McMasters,
which he saw that from 100+ yards and was able to like identify the body. I was just like, this is, and we're having a moment here. Like,
I was so confused because I thought the whole time that McMasters was with them, and even when they said the name, I was like, wait, who was that?
They never, I know it would have been like an extra point in time, but they didn't give you a scene where McMasters is like leaving the property and going like, I'm going to go hunt for food, or I need to go check back in at the city to make sure that these people have all the supplies they need, or something like that. They don't give us that. Yeah, like, we just assume they're all there waiting for Doc to get better. And then he dies. And you're like, what?
I think he was in the scene just before that too. So
he
feels really weird that he's there. And then the next thing is he's dead.
I will tell you, I think another thing that falls into the category of something I didn't like is there is no continuity of time. There's nothing. Because when he arrests Curly Bill and then he sees the judge, that has to be days.
Mm-hmm.
But they make it seem like it's the next afternoon.
Yeah.
But it was impossible because he's literally saying it would take the judge a week or something like that. There was something he said where it'll take a week. And I'm like, how'd you see him?
Yeah.
What do you mean? How long did it take you? A couple hours? Like what did you call him? What do you mean? How did you figure this out?
Yeah.
And then that scene, so they're battling it out. They have the miracle battle at the creek, and then Doc.
The creek.
The creek.
It's probably the worst slow motion. No,
that was actually the thing. One of the things on my list was the slow motion, because it was clearly someone wanted to do slow motion, but no one prepped the production for it, because even when you're filming, you have to change the frame rates or else it doesn't work. Technology back then, when it tried to do slow motion on a smaller amount of frame rates, it just stretches out stuff that it shouldn't be stretching out, and you almost have like, it almost looks like cuts in it, and it just looks so bad. But that was all the slow there was not one bit of slow motion in this entire movie that was filmed correctly.
Right.
So that slow motion was bad.
Yeah. And the no.
Well, that was the thing. I think
it made me laugh hard.
I think the idea about what he was doing was right. I think how they made him deliver it was wrong. And so what I mean by that is, yeah, I think what he was saying is like, no more. Like, I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm not going to let these guys win anymore. The problem is he needed to say that
instead of just no.
And his no's were really weird. Like, I don't know if it was his actual delivery in the moment. I don't know if it was the overdubs afterwards. Like, I don't know what thing it was. Those no's felt so off, because I think it had room to be melodramatic. Like, I think it had room for that, and it should have been, because they were almost doing it like a Greek tragedy in a lot of ways, which if they would have had him process Maddie's death, it could have been more like anyway. but that moment was super weird. There were a couple other moments that were very just odd. Like they just didn't work. They didn't fit. And it was like, okay, we're trying to tell this story. We're trying to do this thing. And we think this is going to do it. And it just, no, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. Anything else you didn't like? I feel like we named a lot.
No. What did you like about this movie?
Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer, I actually don't think he has an Academy Award, which is stunning. He might. I don't know. Let me see. But as I'm looking that up, he did so good. Everything he did was overacting. He was overacting the entire time, but it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stress how good he was in this movie. He nailed it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I think his performance, like, even though overacted, is the best performance in the whole movie.
Right.
It was, yeah, he's just, he was, even as a kid, I remember his character, him as Doc Holliday has stuck with me since I was a kid. I don't remember how old I was when I first watched this movie, and it was most likely the TV edit of it. But yeah, I just remember, I remember him over pretty much everything else about the movie.
Right.
Is his performance. And I think if it sticks with you as a kid, then like it's a good performance.
Right. Yeah, he was so good. And yeah, so he has only, according to Wikipedia, has won the Humanitarian Satellite Award and the Satellite Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. That's it.
He's gotten some nominees.
Yeah.
Like a lot of nominees.
Right. But it's just
or nominations.
It's insane that he hasn't gotten the recognition in those areas, because like he really, like, he's a really good actor. I really enjoyed him in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He really carried a lot of scenes. The scene in the saloon when he first meets Ringo, he's doing laps around him. Like he's doing laps around him. Anytime he's in the picture, he steals the screen. The part where it's where Billy Bob Thornton is seeking revenge. He's like,
yeah.
Doc, is that you? And he's like, oh yes. How you doing? You know, just kind of that.
Yeah.
And then they're talking, and he's like, oh,
I forgot you were, yeah.
I forgot you were there. You can put the gun on the ground and make your way out, like whatever the line was. And yeah. Anyway, I liked him. There was a technique that was a filming technique that happened ever so often in the movie that I really enjoyed, that I hadn't really seen. And it was I want to see how they did it, but so when Doc Holliday was first had his,
when someone in foreground and background were in focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was jarring to see, because my brain was like, one of these should not be in focus.
Right.
But at the same time, the more the shot was happening, the more I was like, whoa, how did they do that? And then it became, I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of like it.
Yeah. It's not a technique used very often. And they used it, at least twice in this movie.
Yeah, there's a few, at least twice. I would almost say it happened about 4 times.
Yeah, and I believe it's a special lens that allows it to have 2 different focal points.
Oh, if it is that, great. If there's like a special technique that they did, great too. Do you know the corduroy? Not corduroy. They're a
Corridor?
Yes.
Okay.
The corridor crew. Corduroy. The corridor crew. I almost want to submit that to them and be like, how they do it? Like, it's not because they do a lot of older movies that use practical effects, because it would have had to be a practical effect. But the scene where Doc is getting inspected by the doctor is really good. And what's her name? His lady, Kate. And Kate is outside of the room. And you have a shot with Kate on the left and the doctor and Doc on the right. And they're both perfectly in focus. And you really have this moment. But then the camera pans over to the second door and follows Kate. So keeps her in focus. But there's no cut. There's no anything. Like, it's this beautiful shot where they're still able to do it. And then when it switches over, it does it again. And it almost looks CGI.
Right. Because it feels off because the depth perception is gone.
Yeah.
But then there are the areas in between that are out of focus.
Right.
And so it really draws your attention to those 2 points. I'm trying to remember. I think it's a lens that they do that with. I mean, you could also duplicate that nowadays by having 2 separate clips that you mask into each other.
Which, that's what it looked like.
It was a lens.
That's what it looked like. Yeah. Another thing I liked, Dutch angles. This movie was full of Dutch angles. If you don't know what a Dutch angle is, I think it is.
It's an angle from the Netherlands.
It's hard to pronounce the real name. But it's essentially a perspective where the camera is lower and looking up, but it's also, I think, a smaller millimeter lens. So it makes it look wider. I don't want to say like a fisheye, but like there's almost like a wider perspective to it. Steven Spielberg loves the Dutch angle. Every movie we have done that Steven Spielberg has directed, every movie we've reviewed by him has had the Dutch angle. Like, it's very much a thing he does. It doesn't always have a wider lens. Like, that's not always a characteristic, but the main characteristic is the camera being lower with a looking up perspective at the character, and typically tilted.
Typically tilted.
The tilt is a big thing. Jurassic Park is full of it. Indiana Jones is full of it. Hook had a bunch of them too. But this particular movie had a few. And sometimes Dutch angles look really dated. They felt so appropriate in this movie. I don't know if it's because, like, you're telling a story about like shootouts and different things where you're trying to do different angles, whatever it might be, or you're trying to tell the story of like really big characters. Like, Wyatt is a big character. He's supposed to be a big character, but even with his connection to the women in the scenes and the other men, like, he just seems like an average height guy. But when they film him in the Dutch angle, he seems giant.
Right.
Or it adds like a layer of drama It can add a layer of drama. It can add a layer of like confusion. They used it a few times in the storm scene when the thunder's going and the the revenge plot. Great. Good use of it. We don't see it nowadays. Nowadays I feel like it has evolved into something less dramatic and more kind of like useful in a lot of ways, but it doesn't tell the story in the same way. It feels like we don't have the same kind that gets used in 90s movies. 90s and 80s movies seem to like
love it. Yeah,
they
I
loved
think
it.
the kind of camera motion that I can think of now that is probably in some ways replaced it is, I can't remember what the actual term is for it, but it's the dolly like pull away shot where the person stays in the same frame, but the hallway or whatever's behind them looks like it's growing.
Right.
Like that kind of gives a similar feel to like the weirdness that a Dutch angle can give.
The purpose, the visual purpose of a Dutch angle. That one has a lot of, that is such a good shot too. I think they did it once, something similar to it in this movie, where like the zoom out, or I think they did the zoom in. But I might be I might be as high as Bill, Curly Bill.
Curly Bill.
There were too many Bills.
Yeah, everybody's name was Bill.
Anything else that you were a fan of?
I second the Val Kilmer. The other thing I had written here was that I really like the costumes were really cool.
The costumes were fantastic.
Of the four of them walking down the road to the OK Corral.
Bitches.
Like,
it was so cool.
So cool. It makes you want to own a duster and a cowboy hat.
Like, we don't want to glorify violence. And a lot of the violence in this movie was like derogatory. Like it was just, there was too much. But that righteous indignation mixed with the outfits and the like walking through a Western town caught me.
So good.
It caught me. And if that is a sin, then I am a sinner. Like it was, it got me. And maybe it was just, those were the moments where the storytelling was good, and storytelling really didn't need anything but those kind of movements, those kind of actions, because like they walked with such an authority and it looked so cool. Looked rad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know how sometimes we have our moments of like, what would make this movie better? This one, I think, could have benefited from kind of, it's a little bit more of, it's a very popular storytelling technique that's used now, but like even movies like 3:10 to Yuma, which are other Western movies, which watching this one made me want to watch other like really good Western movies.
Right.
But like 3:10 to Yuma is a really good example of having a dichotomy of like not really good, not really bad, but like it's very clear who the protagonist and antagonist are. Where I think this movie could have used a little bit more of that for Wyatt Earp himself.
Right.
Because I think they made him too much of a hero while also depicting him in a way that was like the whole relationship thing was like, I feel weird about this and I feel weird about him in this way. And so if they made him a little bit more of like, he's not just like the perfect hero,
right?
If they made him a person that has problems, I think it would have made it feel less like a glorifying this thing and more of like, here's a little bit more of a realistic take on him.
Right. And the problem with his character is his character depended deeply on the audience knowing what he did in Kansas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel
If
like
you
this movie
don't know
requires
that,
you to know the history,
right?
before watching it. Yeah,
Instead of the little newscaster video in the beginning talking about the Cowboys, they could have talked about what Wyatt did, because he was still technically part of the Western Expanse. Like that Kansas, even though it is the Midwest, like it was part of that in a lot of ways, because we hadn't been that far west yet. Now we're taking that story of going west and going southwest, but you're still going west. You're just skipping the Rockies, like, so I guess, it would have benefited deeply from giving us a little bit of that perspective. And on top of that, like, his weird relationship thing aside, his inability to accept his call and his purpose, like he fights it the whole time. No thank you, blah blah blah. And it's like, I get the retired, but like, you are sacrificing your morality, because Virgil was right in a lot of ways when he saw the suffering in this town, and the reality is someone had to do it. This is a place where there were people who were lawless. They cared nothing about the laws. They would kill anyone they wanted, and they had to be stopped. Do I wish there was a non-violent solution to it? Yes. Is it possible? I don't know. Like, I would love to say like it would have been 100% possible to do it non-violently or in a way where no one died, but I don't think that was reasonable for that time. Like, I don't think the laws that we abide in now of society, where like the killing of someone is abhorrent, kind of no matter who it is, that didn't stick, at least in the world they built. That wasn't something that existed. So it needed to be the way it was, but he was like fighting it. He was fighting the idea of helping this community out. And I liked that tension, but I don't again, Wyatt in the end doing all those things was kind of selfish. Like, he was doing it because they killed his brother.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing it because he was trying to help this community out. He wasn't doing it because he saw that these Cowboys were, bad and kind of evil.
Yeah, they
that
ruined
didn't
his
matter.
dream, so
they killed his brother in his casinos, so he got mad. That's what it felt like. So we're kind of in this position where we're like, he is the hero and he should be the hero, but his righteous indignation and his miracles don't necessarily make sense.
Yeah.
And then it kind of it makes Doc Holliday's admiration for him not as powerful. Because like Doc really does see him as like a good man. But us as the audience, it's like, I mean, he's good at killing guys. Like, he's really good at it.
Yeah.
Supernaturally good at it. Doc 100%. He has the best redemption story in it. He's clearly a dude who understands that he's not a great dude, and he understands that his vices have killed him. But he also understands that he owes it to his friend and the community to use his skills to do at least some good. And it seems as though he does understand that, like, the Cowboys are bad. He wants no part in them. He seems to steal from crooks. He takes from debauchery. Like, he's almost like Robin Hood in a way.
Yeah.
And that to the ending where he chooses to battle Ringo feels selfish, but at the same time feels really good because he knows that Wyatt will die. He knows that Wyatt cannot beat Ringo.
Right.
And he honestly isn't really sure if he can, because he seems like he's struggling as he's getting ready to fight or to duel Ringo. He feels a little about that struggle, and then the adrenaline is what takes over and kind of helps him along the way. And it almost feels like when he kills Ringo, he's killing that part of him too. Like, I feel like his character has a really good redemption, all that good stuff.
I think he's one of the characters that you actually kind of get an idea of what his actual motives are and why he does what he does.
He's the most developed character.
Yeah,
for sure. You understand immediately he's smart. He blurs the line between right and wrong, but he does have a moral center. He chooses, he takes the marshal badge because he believes he can't kill someone without like a justification for it. So he even shows, because we don't see him do anything truly violent up until the OK Corral. So like, we understand in that moment, like he cares about morality. He just struggles with it.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like, like you were saying, he felt, even though he was overacting and kind of like a ridiculous character in a lot of ways, he felt the most real.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just because of like how developed he was.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting where everything else in this movie felt like it was really glorifying a lot of these crazy things. Him, it didn't feel like it glorified the debauchery that he lived in.
Yeah.
Like he knew that the things that he did weren't good.
Yeah.
And like, it shows us like these are the results of his choices.
Right.
Where everything else felt like, woo, shooting guns, pew pew.
Right.
So I think that was interesting. And I think part of what makes his character like stand out so much, but also like you said, he has that moral code, and it's kind of his own moral code of like, he's a gambler. He's gonna do these things, but he also is like, he is loyal to his friend. He has problems, but like they are problems that we understand.
And I think we like his anti-hero aspect because he's only bad to bad people, and he's good to good people. Like, he's never rude or violent or scary to any of the normal people around. If anything, he's kind of a Southern gentleman about stuff. But for all the bad people or all the like sleazy people, it's so funny that he's, Wyatt is trying to make money off this casino and do all this stuff, but we still have this very like clear indication of like, everyone who's at the casino is awful.
Yeah.
Like, they're bad. Maybe they're not bad in the sense of like they hurt people, but they're crooks and kind of pieces of crap.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's just like, well, I'm just going to take advantage of those people. So there's almost like well, if you're going to be a crook, you might as well be crook to crooks.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. And I don't know. Good for you, man. Good on you. Any quotes that stand out to you? I will say this movie had a lot of really good one-liners, really excellent one-liners. When Wyatt sees Josephine for the first time, not for the first time, he sees her, Doc and him talk about it. And then, so, they're at the bar and Doc is asking him, like, you know, what would you do if, you know, that lady asks you to dance? And he's like, I would say no. And he's like, something to the point of like, it was really good timing that you said that. It's time to put that to the test.
Yeah.
And then he sees her walk in and Wyatt goes, hell.
Yeah.
Like every time he said that, it was perfect. It was just like, hell. It's episode 2. No, I don't even know what episode because I changed the format. But when we did basketball with my buddy Tom, one of the lines that we said was very funny is every time that Trey Parker, like something happens, he'd be like, that felt very much like he's just like, hell. Like every time he said it, I was laughing because it was very funny.
Yeah.
And Doc's one-liners are not always funny, but they're very good.
Yeah. They're clever.
Yes, always clever.
He's clever and he's quick. The two that I have written down are his lines, like the first time that they do see Josephine and the Earps are all kind of gawking at her and he just leans over and he's like, well, an enchanted moment. And he's just like kind of poking fun at his friend.
Yeah.
And like breaking up the tension.
What's the other one? There's another one that's like right in that alley of I think someone says, Wyatt Earp has found out the devil in the play is performed by Josephine. And he goes, well, I'll be damned. And then Doc goes, you may indeed, if you get lucky. It's like, it's so clever. It just fits so well. I like, before you say your other one, the other one I like is after the miracle fight at the creek. McMasters goes, where is he? And Doc Holliday goes, down by the water, walking on water. Oh, down by the creek, walking on water. I was just like, oh God. That was one of the better parts where I think if they're taking off the legend of Wyatt Earp, that he just survived without getting shot, which I think is a real event that happened. Whether it looked the way this one did or if it happened in a different scenario, I do believe there's an actual story of Wyatt Earp going into a gun battle, essentially being in the middle of where he should have been shot and no one hit him. And everyone in the scene right after was just like, what was that?
Yeah.
All of that was good.
Happened. The other one was after Curly Bill shoots Sheriff White, and White is like, he needs to go to trial. And there's like kind of the standoff between the Cowboys, Thomas Hayden Church, and the Earp boys, and Doc Holliday shows up and he's like, you're drunk, you probably seeing double. And he's like, I got 2 guns, one for each of you.
It's so good.
Like, yeah, I am drunk, but I'm going to hit you either way.
Yeah. Right after the doctor's appointment, and Kate is trying to console him, but also feeding into his vices that are killing him.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "I'm a good woman to you." And then he responds, "It's true. You are a good woman. Then again, you may be the Antichrist." It just feels like everything is clever. Clever is really good. When they first see Turkey Creek Jack Johnson and they're like shooting and everything. Oh, no. This is they're confronting some cowboys, and Jack goes, "Nobody move." And Doc goes, "Nonsense. By all means, move." Like he's like clearly trying to egg him on. Just Doc Holliday is what makes this movie. It's kind of that thing of, The Dark Knight. If you really watch that movie, it's a bad Batman movie, but it's a really good Joker movie. And this movie, it's like it's kind of a bad Wyatt Earp movie, but it's a really good Doc Holliday movie. Like it's an excellent Doc Holliday movie.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else? You just got two?
I've just got those ones. I mean, there's some, like you said, Wyatt says some good stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout, but
yeah. Alrighty. And now. Now it's time for the Review Rewind, where we take a look at a positive review and a negative review, and we see where we fall. So, on Metacritic, overall, it has a 50%, so that is bad. But on Rotten Tomato, it had a 73%, and it was certified fresh. The Rotten Tomato audience gave it a 94%, and the IMDb audience gave it a 7.8 out of 10. So overall, according to Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, overall it's pretty liked. Metacritic, not so much. So we are going to hear one from 1993, the day of and the day before the movie came out. One from the Chicago Tribune and one from the Miami Herald. Tristan, if you would be so kind, please go ahead and read the positive review.
The Chicago Tribune gave it a 75, and it says, "These post-Unforgiven Westerns are a tricky business. The classics were mythical morale." Oh, my goodness. I'm struggling. Okay.
Alliteration, guys.
The classics were mythical morality tales, good versus evil, played out with pistols and black and white hats. But look at today's headlines. Killing is rampant, guns are a plague, and violence is no joking matter. Somewhat overlong Tombstone ultimately can't reconcile these conflicting impulses either, but at least it consistently entertains as it tries.
That was not in any way, shape, or form what I got out of it.
Whoa.
Wow. What? Oh, wow. How about that?
That's a positive review.
That's a positive review, but I get what they're saying. Like, we're in a similar position. Like, there is conflict. People are dying. Like, there are horrific things happening. Gun violence is still an issue. All of the above. I don't think as an art form we are then to say like, well, we can't watch anything violent. Because it feels like that's what they're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, we got a lot of shoot 'em ups happening in real life, so we can't watch any shoot 'em ups. And I mean, there may be validity to the argument, but I don't know if that's like worth saying in the positive review.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, 75 is a positive review. But I think what they're getting at, and we've talked about it, is there is that glorification of the violence of the Wild West.
Right.
And we keep talking about that, and I sound like a broken record at this point. But I think that's what this guy is trying to get at, or whoever wrote this critic, or whoever, critique, is they're trying to say, like, hey, there's a lot of violence in the world, and the old Westerns, black and white. This one, a little less black and white, and it's not doing a good job of telling us, hey, all this gunfighting is kind of bad.
Right. Which I don't know if that's the job of the movie, because I think if we're really taking it, the problem is that the problem at hand was a very violent, vile problem.
Yeah.
At that time, the only answer they had for it was violence.
And it was a thing that actually happened.
Right.
It's not like they just made a movie.
That's the thing, because I think you're right.
Yeah.
I do think there is a glorification of it, and how they depicted Wyatt made it feel more like they were trying to glorify it. Because I do think there's a way to tell a story where are we good guys? Like, it could be argued that not necessarily. Like, we're not always good. We're not always doing the right thing. We're not always doing the altruistic thing. But there were clearly people who were hurting a community and killing people who needed to be stopped. And at that time, the only way they knew how was violence. And I think Virgil, and I actually think Doc, both, kind of understood that more than Wyatt did.
Mm.
But we were watching a Wyatt Earp movie, not a Doc Holliday movie or a Virgil Earp movie. Even though Virgil, questionable some of his own intentions, he really felt like, well, take him out back, shoot him. That's justice. And Wyatt did have a little bit of like, well, we should take him to a judge, kind of go through that process. But they didn't do enough of that. Anyway, I think there is a way to tell this story without glorifying it. Did they do it? Not necessarily. Maybe they were trying to. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. But we've got a Miami Herald here with a 25%. For the most part, Tombstone is inept. Some of the performances are wincingly bad. Dana Delaney, playing a touring actress with the hots for Wyatt, is particularly embarrassing. Oh, yeah. Director George P. Cosmatos firmly cements his cements his hack status. He takes nearly an hour to get things rolling, then fails to build any sort of momentum. Ouch. I mean, not wrong, but ouch.
Sick burn.
The hack feels very attacky, but like there is validation, because we talked about it even before anything. Like, it takes the first hour leads up to the OK Corral, and then we still have another hour and 10 minutes of movie left. So like it does take a long time. Again, all of this feels like it is looking at the negative and ignoring all the good things that are happening in the movie. Because I do think Val Kilmer's performance does do enough to carry a lot of this picture along. Dana Delaney, credit to the critic, she, like, for someone playing an actor, she is acting poorly.
It's so bad. Yeah.
And it's so funny because, like, Billy Zane doesn't get enough screen time, tragically underused, but he's playing an actor and you get it. He's like, you get this feeling like he's an eccentric kind of guy. he really likes Shakespeare. Like, he really likes acting. Acting is his personality, and you get that. And for her, you don't really get that. And even the lines they make her say are so stupid. I think they're trying to show her as like an empowered woman, but it doesn't ever feel that way. It doesn't feel like she's empowered. It just feels like almost like she doesn't understand aspects of the world. Mm-hmm. And even her responses to like things that happen, like you said, every time she smiles at Wyatt, you're like, it's almost like a mom saying bye to her kid really loudly, and the kid's just like, Mom, come on, Mom.
Not now.
Not now. Yeah, it just feels, it does feel like that moment. Hey, I think this is a problem that the Mummy also had, where the woman's dialogue was written by a particular guy, and it doesn't work.
Yep.
She just seems kind of ditzy, but you're also supposed to believe she is like, she knows what she's doing. And that's what's supposed to be what attracts Wyatt to her, is that she's this like independent woman, a woman that he, you know, he's aiming for this like life of settling down, and she's the opposite of that. And then he realizes, oh, maybe my idea of settling down is not what I actually want. That's what you're supposed to get from everything, but you don't get it. Like, it's not there. So yeah, I guess, you know, this feels just hurtful. Like, it feels like they're trying to hurt everyone in this movie.
Somebody hurt this critic.
Yeah. And you know who it was? No one. They hurt themselves. What is your... Hold on. All right. No. I don't have the sound I want. I was hoping for a drum roll, but I think I got rid of it. Nuts. Feel like an idiot. All right. How about this one? Can we do this one? Yeah. All right. What's your grade?
I gave this one a C.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to agree. I'm not even going to try to like nitpick at it. It has some really good things in it. It's one of those things that, like, if you saw a school project where the group gets the gist of it, but they present it in a really fun way. Maybe they're missing stuff, but they kind of go above and beyond on presenting it in a really fun way. Like one of the kids is just like really good at presenting it, while the other kids are like, they're struggling to kind of get through, but they get through it too. And you get the idea of what they're trying to do. I'll give it a C.
Yeah. Or those kids were they're supposed to give a project or a report on something, and instead they show up and they're like, I made a movie. And then they show your video in class, and you're like, well, that's not quite what we were asking for, but you know what? You went above and beyond.
Yeah. You didn't really talk about the OK Corral. Like, you didn't give me too much detail, but you told a fun story. So I'm going to give you a C. Like, you're going to pass, and you know, it's not going to kill your grade. Yeah. Like, this shouldn't be a pox on anyone's career other than, I guess, the director's career, if he didn't actually like direct it.
Well, that guy, he's a hack. There we go.
All right. Well, no, I think that about sums it up.
We did it.
So, thank you for listening to Review Rewind. As the sun sets on this western front and the OK Corral has dead people in, I don't know. I should have thought about the ending a little more. Anyway, we will be back and we will have another new episode. As a reminder, we are focusing on the 90s. Oh, hold on. I'm going to pause this. Did you? So online, I ended up talking to, not talking to, it wasn't. It was just like a, gosh, what's it called?
The suspense is killing me.
I know. So I got a movie recommendation. No.
Recommendation?
Oh my gosh. Sorry. Okay.
Somebody recommended a movie?
Yes. And his name is Brian Lynch. He was part writer for the Minions and Minions Rise of Gru and Puss in Boots and The Secret Life of Pets. I'm just trying to show his writing credits. Like, he's written a lot of kid comedy movies and stuff, but
you had a conversation with this guy?
Sort of. Don't look into it. But he recommended a movie from the 90s that I have not seen and I've heard horrible things about. But he was like, if you watch it, you're going to like it. And I feel like it's time we took the review rewind and rewound. And so the next movie we're going to watch is Waterworld. He said he loves that movie. And he's like, you need to go watch it. I was like, all right. I'll go watch it. So our next movie is going to be Waterworld, and then we have some other movies lined up. But until then, keep on rewinding those. No, shoot. I said it the other time, and it was pretty good, and then I forgot it. Anyway, review your rewinds, and we'll see you next time. Oh, that was it. Bye.
Yeehaw.